Florida Congresswoman Maria Salazar joining us now with this breaking news here. Congresswoman, good to see you, and thanks so much for coming on. This kicked off right at the beginning of this broadcast here. So Kamala Harris has chosen her running mate, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. How do you react to that?
Well, I represented the city of Miami, the ultimate melting pot, the heart of the Cuban exile community. And I'm just reading right now that Ilhan Omar, who serves with me in Congress, and Bernie Sanders, the most progressive, the most liberal senator in the Senate, and Pramila Jayapal, who's also a very good friend, but we do not share the same ideology. They all supported him, and he supported the 2020 BLM riots. You've come to the city of Miami where we've never had riots, where we believe in the American agenda, where we believe that socialism or wokeness or progressive, all that is Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. We only can give our condolences to Kamala Harris. That's not the pick that we need to see in the United States.
Yeah.
For VP.
Sure. And Congresswoman, as we know, now it'll be interesting, right? We know who J.D. Vance will face off against for that vice presidential debate, should it actually happen. It would be the Minnesota governor. And then, of course, we are still waiting to see perhaps the exact details on the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It's a very fascinating election cycle. What is it specifically that you're looking for, or the message that Republicans need to make clear to the voters?
Wonderful question. And now it's more clear than ever that we have a ticket where we have two paths: free market economy, preserving the American agenda, keeping democracy, keeping the institutions, Supreme Court, DOJ, everything that has created the platform that the United States stands for, where people like my parents, Cuban refugees, 60 years ago, came and enjoyed the promised land. And the other side is, well, BLM riots, destroying the American fabric of institutions. You cannot do that because the problem, I always say it, that the problem is ignorance. Unfortunately, people that have picked, like someone like future VP Walz, have not experienced is what my constituents know: exile, oppression, and the destruction of the American exceptionality. And that's why we have Venezuela, which it's now on the news. And Venezuela is the #1 threat for the southern border within the next few days if we do not solve the problem from the White House, the leadership from the White House, and on top of President Maduro.
What do you think about the announcement? It's going to happen in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania was all but a sure thing, at least when you ask any political pundit, that this was going to be the ticket. It would pull VP Harris a little bit more centrist, a little bit more into the middle. But she's went the opposite way this morning. Many say that it looks more left now than ever with Governor Walz. Do you agree with that? Why or why not?
Well, yeah, because you have to look at their records. And that is what always happens. When you are within a political institution, the center with always the most radical wings always steal or take away from the most moderates because of fear, because of threats. And that's what just happened here. And I'm very concerned because this is the United States. I'm not talking about Venezuela or Cuba or North Korea or Vietnam. We're talking about the United States. But like you said previously, we have a very clear choice now between the left, between progressive, between wokeness and free market economy, democracy, and the American way. It's more clear than ever. And maybe that's good because I'm sure the independents, people that may not like either ticket, but they do like what they have enjoyed for 250 years, what the founding fathers created, the American exceptionality. Let's keep it.
Sure. And look, as Sean was pointing out, right, we oftentimes consider Pennsylvania to be a key swing state. It's interesting, even the fact that she chose someone from Minnesota. Donald Trump had said that Minnesota's in play for Republicans, which, always there was maybe some pause or hesitation there just because of the voting record of the state. But maybe there is some legitimate concern about about which direction this typically blue state could go. Congresswoman, while we've got you, though, I know we're talking about the future of 2024, but can we talk about who is in the White House right now? And that is President Joe Biden, who is clearly not capable of running his own reelection bid. Does that concern you about the United States today, considering all the things that are happening around the world, specifically in the Middle East and the tensions there?
And yeah, the Middle East, but I want to bring it closer to home, which is what I was talking to you about Venezuela.
Sure.
Most Americans that are watching this program do not understand that we are about to see probably 8 million more Venezuelans trying to search and trying to go into the southern border. That is something that is of national security concern, and they have said it. We've had 9 million people coming into the southern border or trying to come into the United States in the last 3.5 years because of the lack of leadership from the Biden administration. Now we see it again, lack of leadership in trying to convince, cajole, or move Maduro, who just lost the election. I'm not sure if you have been covering, but it was a major steal, 30-70, and they're still trying to hold on to power. The Biden administration is the one leading the way and telling a very close neighbor, you have to go, otherwise we're going to have a massive situation at the southern border again. 9 million people have come in the last 3.5 years. That's unthinkable. And now we may have another 8 million because we are a nation of good people. We are noble. What are you going to do with people banging on your door saying we're hungry and we need to leave our nation, Venezuela? You can walk from Venezuela to Texas. So that is where we need to see leadership right now, because it's a concern for us. For every major city in America will be impacted if that were to happen.
Yeah, looking back again, what happened to Venezuela, or the demise of Venezuela, the economy, the government, et cetera, you name it, for the people. And you're throwing out these warning flags here for America and how that could happen with really progressive left-leaning leaders and maybe the ideology before that. Congresswoman, thank you so much. It's good to see you, and we appreciate your time on this breaking news.
Thank you.
Of course, thanks to you.